African News. We are broadcasting from Canada. I am Sandra Asante. Let's look at the headlines. Ethiopia delays polls again amid security and logistical challenges. Powerful nations working against Ethiopia, Abiy says. 30 sentenced to death over anti-police clashes in DR Congo. Sudan to try 7 soldiers over protesters killing. Jacob Zuma's corruption trial over arms deal punished back. This and many more other stories coming up after the break. We will start off in Ethiopia, and Ethiopia has delayed its national election again after some opposition parties said they will not take part, and as the conflict in the country's Tigray region means no vote is being held there, further complicating Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's effort to centralize power. Batukan Medeska, chairperson of the National Electoral Board of Ethiopia, indicated that delays in opening polling stations and voter registration have pushed the voting day, state's news agency Fana reported on Saturday. Medeska told Reuters' new agency the election would not happen on the 5th of June as scheduled. We will not let anybody know as soon as to how many additional weeks or days to complete the delay task wouldn't be more than 3 weeks, she added. Medeska cited a plethora of logistical delays such as finalizing voter registration, training electoral staff, printing and distributing ballot papers. Practically, it became impossible to deliver all this as originally slated dates, she said. With just weeks to go to the elections, there has been a few signs of campaigning, and several opposition parties plan to boycott the vote, describing it as a farce. The vote was originally planned for August last year, but was postponed for the first time because of the coronavirus pandemic. The Tigray People's Liberation Front, which was ruling the northern region at the time, has resisted the postponement and held of its national general elections in September. This was a factor that led to the conflict between the TPLF and the central government in Addis Ababa, which has been ongoing since early November. The fighting in Tigray has killed thousands and led to the United States who alleged that ethnic cleansing against Tigrayans was being carried out in the western part of the region that is the home to some 6 million. Prime Minister, who introduced sweeping political reforms after taking office in 2018 and won the Nobel Peace Prize the following year, has repeatedly promised that the election will be free and fair. Yes, during Ethiopia, an Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has said that he will not allow the delay of the general election to be used to fulfill the interest of external forces, state-owned Ethiopian news agency reported. The elections will be decided by Ethiopia and Ethiopians only, not to fulfill the interest of external forces. The NA quoted Abiy as saying while inaugurating an industrial park in the Afar regional state. Mr. Abiy accused unnamed powerful countries of waging a campaign against Ethiopia. Countries with strong economy or other entities are in a campaign against Ethiopia with the aim of being to decide how Ethiopians should live, Mr. Abiy quoted. He added that Ethiopians have never fallen under any forces and will never fall. Ethiopia has come under pressure from the US and the European Union over alleged human rights abuses and the humanitarian crisis in the northern Tigray region, where federal forces oust the rebellious former regional governing party, Tigray People's Liberation Front, in November 2020. We moved to DR Congo, and 30 people were sentenced to death in Democratic Republic of Congo after a one-day trial for their role in anti-police violence marking the end of Ramadan in the capital. A policeman was killed in Kinshasa on Thursday as rival Muslim group fought over the right to mark the end of the Ramadan at a major sports stadium. Lawyer Chief Shimpaba said 30 people were sentenced to death in a trial that started on Friday, a day after the violence took place. A recording of the proceedings confirmed the verdict. The DRC has not carried out death penalty since the moratorium was introduced in 2003. Since then, death sentences have been commuted to life imprisonment. We moved to Sudan, and 7 members of the Sudan military has been arrested and will be prosecuted in connection with the killing of 2 demonstrators in the capital Khartoum last week. The head of the Interim Sovereign Council ruling party, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, ordered an investigation into Tuesday's death that happened outside the army headquarters in Khartoum. But many people in Sudan are angry that there has still not been any justice for a far bigger atrocity that happened almost 2 years ago. Then, as protesters call for a return to civilian rule following the overthrow of the President Omar al-Bashir's soldiers opened fire, at least 128 people died. The men who fired the weapons were from much-feared Rapid Support Forces headed by Mohammed Hamda Dagalo, who today is the deputy head of Military Council. We move to South Africa, and the corruption trial of South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma has been pushed to 26th of May, where a formal plea will be entered. He is expected to plead not guilty. Mr. Zuma's supporters gathered outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court ahead of his appearance. The former president faces 16 counts of corruption relating to a multi-million-dollar arms deal. A total of 217 witnesses are expected to testify against him. The case centers on an arms deal with a French armed company that was meant to modernize South Africa's defense in the late 1990s. Both Mr. Zuma and the company have denied the charges, which include fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. This is Rajwa Curtains on African News. Thank you so much for joining me. See you some other time.